Welcome, everybody. Thank you for listening. We are here with Mr. Mike Skinner. He and I have had the honor of working together a few years ago for his wonderful creation of the Men of Virtue Rosary, and I did a piece for him for Mount St. Mary's Echo, their newspaper, and I'm thrilled to be here with you again and to talk about some new achievements and plans that you have. And before we get into those announcements, is there any updates you could give us on the Men of Virtue Rosary?
Well, yes, absolutely. And thank you for all your help, the wonderful work you did at Mount St. Mary's. So helpful, and delighted to say that the ministry continues to grow. We launched the Men of Virtue Rosary about 3 years ago, in 2016, on the feast day of Our Lady of the Rosary, or Our Lady of Victory. And since then, the growth has been nothing short of extraordinary. So the podcast that was developed, I think that's probably most noteworthy. We created a podcast, and it's now been downloaded in over 40 countries and in 48 states here in the United States. So there's clearly a message here that's resonating with people. And the booklets that we've made available, the electronic version, of course, is free, and that's been distributed all across the country, and have been asked to take the booklets to men's conferences, to Catholic events, to parishes, to Catholic schools. There really is a thirst for what has been created in the Men of Virtue Rosary. I think the reason for that is our popular secular culture has kind of starved us of what we all truly desire, and that's to be closer to Jesus, and through Our Lady and her intercession and her just quiet, humble, peaceful way to bring us closer to her Son. We have the Men of Virtue Rosary, and it's been just such a beautiful grace to be a part of it, and just delighted in its growth, and want to continue to help it grow for the foreseeable future.
And that's wonderful. And so with that success that it's brought you, you've developed some new things as well. Tell us about that.
That's right. So a couple new things, very excited to share. First of all, a new website called Gratia Reflections, and let me spell that. It's Gratia Reflections.com. Gratia, of course, Latin for grace. We all want to grow in divine grace. Of course, Our Lady helps us do that. And the purpose of the website is to have a better, more elegant, beautiful way for people to get the Men of Virtue Rosary, to get the content that's available via the website, to download as I mentioned, the electronic version is for free, available there at Gratia Reflections. If people want to purchase the booklets for their parish or their school or prison ministry, or just a single copy to have to enhance their prayer life, that is available via the website. I've been asked to do a lot of speaking, which has been, again, just a blessing. And if people would like a custom presentation for a seminar or a conference, happy to do that. So that's available via the website. So all of the information that has been developed by way of the Men of Virtue Rosary phenomenon, if you will, that's all available at Gratia Reflections. So that's one new website. Secondly, and probably even more importantly, we have a new rosary that's been developed, and that's going to be out here hopefully by the end of August, but it's called the Precious Life Rosary. Similar concept. We've designed a rosary to help celebrate and defend innocent life. And just as with Men of Virtue Rosary, we're asking for Our Lady's intercession to help us understand and celebrate and hold so dear the sanctity of life. And 5 reflections or meditations from marriage, all the way through the conception of a child, its design in the mother's womb, and then our own salvation. Why is a life even developed to begin with? And really believe that we're here to help one another get to heaven. So what is life from all of creation, what God intends for each and every precious life, The Precious Life Rosary articulates that and celebrates it, and we're very excited to have that out and available at Gratia Reflections, hopefully, again, by the end of August.
We'll certainly be looking forward to that. Can you tell us more about how and when you were inspired to create the second rosary for everybody to reflect upon?
Yeah, that is a good question, and I'm not sure I exactly can pinpoint it. I think just with everything happening in our, sadly popular secular culture that has lost its way. Roe v. Wade has been just a terrible, terrible scourge on this country. Since the passage of Roe v. Wade in 1974, over 60 million innocent lives have been destroyed. Just such a tragedy, unspeakable evil. And there's some, I guess, green shoots of hope sprouting here in the country now. And I think through all of this, had this idea that, one, as we continue to seek opportunities to help people understand just how precious and beautiful life is, we really do need Our Lady. And she is such a champion for these causes. God, if you think about this, God chose his own mother. He chose his own mother from all of eternity. And Christ was formed at the Annunciation, that spark of creation in his mother's womb. Now, God could have chosen any way to come here, but he chose to be formed at the spark of conception in the womb of a young Jewish woman in Nazareth. That means something. That nothing in God's plan happens by chance. I'm quoting now John Paul II. In God's providence, there are no coincidences. So I think in there somewhere was this notion that we need to sort of unpack this and understand, what does it mean when we talk about life and the defense of life? What is it exactly? And through that, the 5 meditations came together, and again, just very excited to get this out so people can use it in their own prayer life, but again, to invite Our Lady into this battle with us. And she is, she's already crushed the head of the serpent, so we need her and want her, and all the saints that are also incorporated into this rosary. But we need them to be a part of this battle. So very excited to have this out shortly.
Yes. And do you think that you developed the rosary as a means of out of necessity, that you see a need for this to be proclaimed and spread, or do you think there is some kind of resurgence of the pro-life movement?
Well, so that's a great question. Probably both. I mean, there certainly is. There certainly seems to be a resurgence with pro-life actions that are happening in states across the country. We do seem to sort of vacillate, politically, depending on who sort of holds the seat of power in Washington, D.C., but we vacillate between pro-choice, pro-life. There seems to be a pro-life movement underway, which is a beautiful thing. But do we need this? Yeah, we do need to celebrate life. There is nothing more precious, and God has sort of given each of us our lives, and there isn't anything from my perspective, anything more sacred for all of eternity. God created the universe. We know how vast the universe is, but here we are on this little blue planet, and we're God's most precious creatures. That's something that's really important, that needs to be celebrated and defended. And I think that the Precious Life Rosary is just one way to continue to bring the fight in the right way to the front lines of this battle.
Yes, and you, as you say, you are offering to speak at a number of different events of multiple types, and I know you've done men's conferences, and do you think that schools maybe, and maybe at the university level, where for millennials who are very active in social issues, do you think that you could maybe spread the word by speaking to them and maybe going to conferences to specifically geared toward them?
Absolutely. I think the message here is designed for everyone. And the speaking engagements thus far, have really been something that was a bit of a surprise to me. I didn't expect that, or I didn't design the Rosary with the hopes of sort of channeling that into speaking engagements. But I've found there's been such an appetite for people to know more about the Rosary. Not only what it is or how to use it, but why we need to use it. Why is this important now? So with men of virtue, the popular secular culture does not appreciate the role of men. And again, this I should disclaim, this is not about sort of men versus women or superiority, inferiority. Men of virtue is not about that. This is designed as much for women as it is for men. Women, of course, should expect the men in their lives to demonstrate or exhibit certain qualities. And who better than Jesus Christ for us to model our behaviors and actions against? So if you're a mother for your sons, or if you are a wife for your husband, or a father to give to your daughter who is going to look for certain qualities in a spouse, men of virtue helps us become better men and do as we're sort of intended and expected to do, given our role as deigned by God. Likewise, the Precious Life Rosary is something that we need to understand why it's important. Why is it important to defend these innocent lives? We all, those of us that have been fortunate enough to be here, to live our lives, we were all formed in the womb of our mothers at the spark of conception, and we need to defend those that cannot defend themselves. I mean, it's if not defending those that can't defend themselves, then what does our country stand for? And America is just too great a place to miss this opportunity to get it right. And to be able to go out and speak about it, to come back to your question, is just a way to help people understand not only what this is and how to use the Rosary, but why it's important. And I've been invited to do that, and have been just blessed to be able to share this with as many people as possible.
Do you see that the work that you've done from the Men of Virtue and now through Gratia and the Precious Life Rosary, do you see some sort of calling or vocation for you to be doing this?
So again, it's a good question. I'm humbled by this, and that doesn't really even begin to describe it. I did not wake up one day and like a New Year's resolution and decide, well, this year I'm gonna set about creating a new ministry. It just didn't happen that way. I just, for whatever reason, I feel that I've been called to do this. It's not something that I've asked to do, but I've sort of let go, if you will, and I feel sort of more like I'm being carried along, sort of on a river. And it's been this wonderful adventure. It's been an incredible blessing and grace, and I just pray that I'm doing God's will and helping bring this to as many people as possible. That's really all I want to do. And I do find a great deal of peace, and so I feel like this is the right thing, but I'm just taking it one step at a time and really trusting in the Holy Spirit to do the rest, and just day by day.
So what are you going to work on next?
Well, I do have some other ideas, some other rosaries. I think the Rosary, to celebrate the Rosary anew, is really the mission of Gratia Reflections. Of course, the meditations that we have are so beautiful and so wonderful, and this is in no way meant to divert attention from the traditional prayers. But what I've learned, I guess, in my own journey is that, everything that Christ did, everything that he did is important. Every moment in his life on earth is something that we can take great value from. And that brings me a great deal of peace, because there's really nothing, there's no problem here on this earth that Christ cannot solve. So in any of our issues, our day-to-day issues and challenges, which are all, graces in and of themselves, if we through them are brought closer to Christ, there's answers for us. And Mary, in just only in the way that she is uniquely qualified, uniquely created as the Mother of God to bring us closer to her Son through our prayer to her. And through our meditations and reflecting on the life of Christ, there's really no problem that's too big for us, and nothing that can't be overcome. So I just have found, I guess, through the Rosary, through wanting to be closer to Christ, through identifying the challenges that we have here in our lives, to try to bring some solutions to people, tool, a weapon, an answer. And so I do have some other ideas out there. I think at the immediate term is to continue to see men of virtue and now or soon precious life grow, to continue to see the development of the website, Gratia Reflections.com, and hopefully add maybe another Rosary or more content each year. And just want it to be beautiful and useful. As I mentioned earlier, just praying that whatever God's will is, to help me hear that and understand it, and to try to bring it forward in the best way I can.
Well, I'm sure we're all certainly inspired and hopeful for you, and we'll continue to pray for you on your journey into the future, and we look forward to all that will be coming out in the future. And thank you for giving us a taste of what's to come, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much.